Hi, I'm Jenna Apgar, and we are back here, and today we have Jim Traister. He's a fellow marketer that we know through the Digital Marketer Elite Group. He's also the CEO of Hospitality Fan, social media and creative agency that drives sales via social media for independent businesses across the country. And it's been a pleasure to work with you, by the way. Been sitting next to each other in the DM Elite group. But right. I believe, and I'll let you kind of take over what you really do, right? You work in a very specific niche.
Right. Right. So yeah, we've been working in with independent businesses we're going on our 7th year now. First 5 years, we specifically just focused on independent restaurants because we want to be the recognized experts in that field. And actually, that's some advice I received from Gary Vaynerchuk about 7 years ago. I traveled 14 hours, and I share this on this presentation, even though it's not poignant to the bullet points I'm going to cover today, but it's going to be applicable, I believe, to the audience out there. I had 3 questions for Gary. And his first answer back was, Jim, focus on the niche that you know. I come from the restaurant business after 16 years. And then number 2 is to start speaking, and we talked about that. So we focused on the independent restaurant space for the first 5 years. Then I got asked to speak at the Best Western North American Convention year 6 and picked up some hotels. So we're in 8 states today, and I'll share a little bit more. I don't want to take too much time talking about myself. The reason being is I know that we're limited to an hour. Majority of the topics, actually all 3 topics we're talking today are literally 3 to 6 hour presentations, and we only have 1 hour. I really need some applicable insights that you folks can take from this presentation and apply as soon as you get off this presentation today. So I'd like to get started with that, if that's good for you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll into it. I talk a mile a minute when I'm presenting, so it should be interesting to see how you squish 6 hours into 1.
Yeah, well, I'm going to dive deep as much as possible. And my goal always is, like I shared on email to you, is to provide as much value. And what that means to me is your team, your audience can take this information and literally, I'm looking at the door in my office right now, walk across the threshold and apply it if they choose to. So I'll be able to share in this. Excellent. So, hey, here's how we're going to walk through it. Number 1, I want to make you aware, me focusing on optimizing Facebook algorithm to drive sales organically. What does the word organically mean, if you haven't heard that before? Without boosting, without spending money on advertising. Because we're working with the majority of our clients are independents, doing somewhere between $500,000 to $1.5 million a year. They don't have a couple extra dollars even to do boosting. So we actually became experts in the organic side. And then number 2 is I'll be sharing the most important link to us to help drive sales on Twitter. There's a lot of folks that aren't fans of Twitter, but just like I finished pitching another prospective client yesterday, to me, it's the most important social media tool out there for independents in the world. Number 1, it's free, and most people fear it because they don't understand it. We won't have time to go through a full training on Twitter, but we fully believe in it. We recommend it to everybody out there. The second most important tool we believe is Facebook advertising out there, once you understand how to drive content organically. Number 3 is I'll be sharing for you folks that are a little more advanced. I know we must have an audience of folks that probably aren't even on social media or have been scared about social media. And then there's people who are already pretty much up to speed. So I want to make sure I shared a tool that I believe is really valuable to grab leads. We're already doing that in our beta test with one of our clients. And it has to do with Facebook Messenger bots. And I'm going to show you a demonstration of one. It's a free tool that's very accessible to you. I'm going to give you the resources that you can go right out there. Either you build it or have your web designer build it. And going forward. So I'll be walking through the steps today, sharing with you exact ideas that we're actually utilizing with our clients. So this is not theoretical. I'm not a consultant first. We're actually a practitioner of this. Everything I'm sharing with you is right from our clients, and I'm going to be sharing with you the results as well too. So just a little bit more background of us. Previous only hospitality fan. Actually, I was a teacher, ran a hotel and restaurant program at a community college for 5 or 6 years. Then I wrapped up my career before doing this full-time at the University of North Texas. I taught hospitality technology up there for a year. We essentially execute social media. As I mentioned, for independent businesses around the country, we're in 7 or 8 states today. I have a team of 15, 16 people, and actually I'm doing interviews right after this presentation. So we take social media entirely off the plate of all of our clients and just apply it every single day to drive sales. I have a book. I'm going to be sharing with you a link as I share with Jenna. I'm providing it to this group for free. It's not completely edited, but it's pretty close to being finished. With that said, I'm providing it to you for free. At the very end, I'm going to share the link to this particular ebook. Okay?
Outstanding. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. We do a lot of speaking. I actually want to kind of move forward and not talk too much more about us. Some of our clients here, we do the Fairmont Hotel. Some people, obviously you're going to recognize them, but believe it or not, hotels, if you haven't addressed them, most of them are ran as franchisees or independent businesses out there. And I share this with you because some of you might be in my space. And what most people are surprised about is that Fairmont Hotel is an independent business. The answer is yes, they're part of a big corporation, but it's owned by major investors. So it's just a thought for folks that work in my space. We really love working with them. With that said, let's get into the presentation so I can start adding value for you. So here's a game plan. I'm going to be providing you my perspective today. Could be very different than anything you heard. I'm not saying it's the only way to work. What I can tell you is we find it gets results day in and day out. And that's what I have to be able to do when I'm talking to an independent, because this is money coming out of their pocket, right? And I need to be able to make sure that we can consistently. So this is one perspective, our perspective based on what works with clients. I'm also going to dispel some myths out there about social media. I won't take too much time on that, but there's a lot of myths, as you can imagine, about social media that I hear all the time. And I'm going to show you the examples as I was sharing with Jenna before the presentation. All these examples are not something I pulled off the internet. Every example is from our clients' social media that we drive sales on every single day. Okay, so no theory here. Okay. And so you'll have some to-dos at this. You might want to start writing down, because I'm going to give you resources to start applying these things. So let's get into it. Number one reason I tell folks all the time, there's only one reason to be on social media, and that's to drive sales. If you ever have one of our competitors, or you have a 16-year-old say, hey, you need to be on Pinterest or you need to be on Snapchat, ask them this question: how's that going to help me drive sales? That's every time I look at a prospective client. I don't sell them on all the different platforms. The reason being is I can't promise them that we can drive sales on them. So everything I show you today is I know that drive sales based on feedback also from our clients. So with that said, I see social media as bird dog marketing on steroids. And what I mean by that is years ago, I used to work in a restaurant business. And one thing I could do really well was to drive sales. And the way I did that is do what a bird dog does essentially. And I used to speak on this subject matter. And what the subject matter of bird dog marketing is that I would find somebody who is in charge of the PTA, or I would find the most popular kid at school, and we would just literally kiss their rear end, because we knew that they had influence to bring other guests into our restaurant. And that's how we did double-digit sales inside of an independent business, brick and mortar, year after year. Is by building relationships one-on-one. And that's exactly what I say to folks that we're doing on social media today, except it's bird dog marketing on steroids, is we're building a strong relationship inside the retailer, not ourselves, but our clients, and then we're doing offline too, or we're starting it offline and doing it, then delivering that particular customer to our clients. With that said, one of our mottos here being a hospitality fan, we talk from the day of orientation and ongoing training, is whatever you do offline, you do online. What do I mean by that is, hey, if I'm building a relationship offline, the first thing I don't do is say, would you mind coming in for happy hour, or would you like to come in for this happy hour? No, the first thing I do is might acknowledge you with a head nod, and the next thing I would do is say hi to you, then we would progress through the relationship. And that's exactly what we do online on every single platform that we're on. I don't care if it's Pinterest, LinkedIn. The point is, I love this quote from Dale Carnegie, and I always say to folks, if you really want to become great at social media, don't go read Facebook for Dummies or go out on the internet. The best you possibly read is by Dale Carnegie, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because first you need people skills at a very expert level to be great at social media. Believe it or not, there's not one person on our team that actually had a Twitter account before being hired. What I can tell you is they all had great people skills and they're mature. Okay?
Nice.
So if you have people skills offline, you definitely can execute social media online. I promise you. As I say, you can't see me, I don't think right now, right, Jenna?
No, they can't see you.
So if I could see you, and this is why I say in presentation, I'm touching my heart right now. I always say social media is more about this, and I'm touching my heart, than it is about the technology. I promise you. So in the first 3 months, we were able to bring the Food Network into one of our clients. This is about 6 or 7 years ago. I was absolutely shocked because I don't come from the world of technology. I come from the world of business, meaning brick and mortar business and teaching. And I was just using my people skills on Twitter. I was managing this account for free at that time. And I couldn't believe all of a sudden the Food Network came in just because we reached out to them. Now, this is before Twitter became really popular. We're talking about 6, 7 years ago. But I was literally using the same people skills that I used offline, online. And I was not an expert at Twitter at that time. And I was doing the other piece of the equation I just shared with you. If you want to be interesting, be interested. And that's exactly how I approached these folks, and then we brought them in. I won't go on another example. And the next, actually, I will share another example. Then we had one of the Dallas Mavericks come in to the restaurant as well too, and it's all doing what we do offline, we do online. So let's progress into some of the technical aspects of what I want to share with you, so you can take notes and apply this to your business right away to add value. Okay. So I'm going to skip through this. I also want to make sure that you know what we are going to addressing today. To give you context, is number one is this is all about driving sales. I just want to remind you, it's not about being on social media. It's about driving sales. It's bringing existing customers back for more is one way we drive sales. The other one is word of mouth. I really believe that when we look at a platform like Facebook, as I was pitching a client yesterday, it's more about word of mouth than anything else in spades. Okay, we're not talking about the third point, SEO, today, or advertising. That's a whole nother lecture. One of the first things you will need to do if you've never been on social media before, and like you're my age, and I know I meet my peers out there, many of them have never been on Facebook. You will have to create a business Facebook page. For example, it doesn't matter. I'm looking you right in the eye as if you're sitting across from me, how many followers you have. This is a client of ours that just had 420 roughly followers, and look at the growth he had. The growth they have here is what's referred to as all organic, not paid, and they only have 642 followers today. I just met with them last week, and they picked up these fans primarily doing what I'm about to teach you now. Okay, a couple myths I do want to unfold before we get into this. Facebook does not just address millennials out there when you're targeting specific groups out there. And people, I always read this and I hear this, oh, young people aren't on Facebook anymore. That's not the truth. Here's actual data from one of our clients. You'll see that roughly about 72% of the folks are between 18 and 34. Even my 13-year-old has a Facebook page, and he had it at 12 when you're not supposed to. Okay. Another example, we still have a client across from Tarrant College in Arlington. Again, roughly, what's that, about 65% of their clients, fans on their Facebook page are between 18 and 34. So don't tell me that kids are not on Facebook. So even if your target market is the younger demographic, you're on Facebook.
I think I tell almost every client that Facebook is still, it's a necessary place to be, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I'm just shaking my head as you say that, for sure. And I guarantee you, your target market is out there. There's, I think, roughly 1.7 billion people on Facebook today. Don't tell me your target market's not out there.
Even the old people, you got everyone like, they're like, oh, 55 and over is not on Facebook. I was like, yeah, they are. They're looking at pictures of their grandkids, and you could be in between those pictures.
Yeah. You're so right. I'm just shaking my head as you say that and smiling, because we hear that too. I didn't bring the example of that data today, Jenna, but we have a client that's very high end in Dallas area near Highland Park. You know that area? And all my peers were telling me, no way people are going to be on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. No, they are on Facebook. Some of the wealthiest people who you say don't have time, they're on Facebook. And we're doing the same thing I'm about to show you. This is a class that I had at UNT, University of North Texas, and I asked them a question. How many of you are on Facebook? And they all raised their hand except for the two in the back because they're wise guys. And but here's the deal. The reason you might not be seeing them on Facebook, or the reason if your population is the population that Jenna just talked about, the older crowd, you don't see them on your Facebook business pages because you haven't created content that's of interest. Okay? We're not going to be talking about that today. I'd be more than willing, of course, to answer those questions or any other ones you think are pertinent, Jenna. But it's really about providing value. Remember what I said a couple minutes ago. If you want to be interesting, be interested, right? So
Yeah.
don't be talking about yourself would be the first lesson on that. So let's get right into it. Facebook algorithm. What is a Facebook algorithm? Essentially, algorithm is just a fancy word for formula. There's roughly about, I've heard, nobody's really lifted the hood and validated that I'm aware of. There's 100 variables that control whether your content on your business pages can be seen by a particular target market. That target market could be the fans on your particular Facebook page or target market you're focusing on. I'm going to share with you the key metric that we follow that's directly related to Facebook algorithm, and share with you, give you some context how that drives sales, and it'll make sense to you because you're doing the same thing in the offline world. And then I'm going to talk about another tool which is on and show some results that I believe you're going to find astounding. I believe, and I can't remember if I shared with you, Jenna, I'm doing a presentation in January to a Colorado Wine Association, and one of my topics is how to drive sales in 5 minutes a week. And the tool I'm going to be sharing with you folks in a couple minutes is exactly that part of that presentation. And all you need is a smartphone.
Nice.
Give you a little more insight to the algorithm in case you're feeling, oh my gosh, this is a little over my head. It really will not be. I believe if it is, I need to explain a little bit more. What the algorithm does, or this fancy formula by Facebook, it rewards you by following their rules, okay, and what they want you to do.
That's
okay?
I don't think I've ever heard it put that way. I like that.
Cool. So what we're going to be doing on social media in this particular examples I'm sharing with you is just driving awareness, okay? And we're focusing on engagement. One of the key metrics on our team that we focus on is interaction or engagement. And it's actually the #1 metric actually we focus on to deliver to our clients. We don't care about Facebook followers, and people hate to hear that. They ask me why. I say this. And this is exactly what I say. Think about the Yellow Pages. And you can't see me now, but if I was holding up the Yellow Pages, I'd say, man, the Yellow Pages has a great following if I'm going to share that with you, right? Because they have wide distribution. I still get one on my porch every quarter. But how many people open up the Yellow Pages? Nobody.
I get one about twice a year, and it makes good kindling for my fireplace.
Exactly. I got more if you need more kindling. So, but what you want people to do if you're selling the Yellow Pages is you want them to open it up, right? Because then there's value. And it's the same thing on Facebook, is we want people to engage, because what that's doing is giving you essentially a vote that, to you saying, hey, Jenna, hey, Joey, hey, Billy, I'm interested in your business because I just clicked on the photo, liked the photo, commented, or shared the photo. That's what's referred to as engagement or interaction. That's how we interact in the world of social media. So let me share with a little bit more. Here's a result. In case you're not convinced yet, this is on one of our clients, the Fairmont in Dallas. They actually don't have a ton of interaction that we're going to be talking about, but a key metric we care about with them is making reservations. And so we need to refer them over to their reservation site. And you'll see, if you look at this email, what I've circled is Facebook, their Facebook page that my folks manage, was the #2 referring site to their reservation site in September, and then Instagram was #7. So this does make a difference, what I'm about to show you. Does make a difference, without question. So get ready to take notes, especially if you're trying to pitch to your boss. You know, many times people come up to me after a seminar and say, oh, here's my problem, is actually, I get what you're saying, but my boss doesn't get what
I get that time pitching clients. You get brought in by one guy who's not the decision maker. They're like, I know we need this. Can you just convince the boss?
Exactly. So I want to say, feel free, and Jenna, if you want me to send you these slides afterwards, feel free to utilize these slides in your presentation to your boss, okay? So here's the one key metric that I would talk to if you have that kind of boss, because everybody's going to understand these examples. This is almost exactly point by point how I do a pitch, because everybody's going to understand this. First of all, I always share with people, if you are pitching a boss, I'm happy you give me that context, Jenna, is everybody has a Facebook page, right? And people are going to understand this language. You know, people like posts, people comment, share, follow, etc. Okay. So here's an example of one of our clients up in Iowa, is Hanson's Dairy. What I'm referencing right now is is when I'm talking about interaction, I'm referring to the like button, comment, share, and you're going to see the number of likes that they have on the page, the number of shares they have on the page, the number of comments they have on this page. Why do I think interaction is so important? From a metric standpoint, here's how Facebook algorithm works. When I like Jenna's business page, Warfare Marketing, it sends a signal to Facebook in San Francisco that says Jim is kind of interested in her content, and so they make a decision within the algorithm. Says the next time that Warfare Marketing, Jenna's company, posts, let's make sure that her content ends up in Jim's newsfeed. Now, I'm on Facebook all the time, but I'm on my personal Facebook page. Sometimes it takes 3 days for me on my personal one. And what they're going to make a decision of what I see at the very top of my newsfeed, which essentially, if you haven't been on a business page before, or on Facebook before, a newsfeed is just like the front page of a newspaper. It's like what you're going to see first. So what you want to do is have people interacting, because when I use the example again, when I say I like Jenna's content, it sends a signal to Facebook and says, hey, Jim is pretty interested in the next piece of content she puts out. It's like a vote of confidence. Okay, we're going to talk about each one of the different levers within the interactions here. Okay?
Cool.
So here's an example results. I can't share with you which particular client this is, but you can see they've been managing Facebook forever. So if you're like kind of chattering your teeth, biting your nails, like, oh crap, we haven't had any interaction for months. The reason we got hired generally is because there's no interaction on the page. I make people aware fans don't matter. It's interaction that matters first. So you see the difference that our folks made right away with what I'm going to continue to share with you. So let's talk about the different interaction levels. And again, I'm really skimming over this, Jenna, just because from a time standpoint, but I believe people are going to get it. So there's 4 different types of interaction. One of the interactions is if I click on Jenna's Warfare Marketing business page picture. When I click on a picture, it actually sends a signal to Facebook, says Jim is lightly interested in the in her content. Okay, it's essentially sending a vote out to Facebook. Says, hey, I'm kind of interested in it. It's almost like trolling out there. That's what it is. That's level. You get frustrated. What's that?
I said, you're on my personal Facebook, right? We actually
yes, correct.
The same thing on personal. We manage personal accounts to get that engagement because it is that important.
Yeah, you're so right. So it's kind of like trolling. You know, we all do it on Facebook. I was trolling actually Jenna's different Facebook group, the group you folks are in, or page, trying to find some information, a logo actually this morning. And but we all troll, right? And so that's like trolling. It sends a very light vote to Facebook. It's almost like looking out the window, but not acknowledging that you're seeing a beautiful tree or somebody interesting, or the kids playing soccer or something along those lines. Okay? It's a very, very light signal to Facebook. The next one is liking the post. When I like Jenna's Warfare Marketing Facebook content, it sends a stronger signal to Facebook and says, hey, Jim likes her content. The next one is, you probably know, if you have on Facebook, I know there's many people probably my age on this presentation. People can also comment on a post. And when I comment on Jenna's Warfare Marketing content, it says to Facebook, hey, Jim's sending a stronger signal to us that he's really interested in her content. And the best one interaction that we are always looking for is sharing. That's like falling in love with the content. It's just like, hey, I'm so interested in Jenna's content, I want to share it with all my friends. And that's exactly what happens. So if you remember a couple minutes ago, I talked about word of mouth.
Uh-huh.
What happens when I share Jenna's content and press that share button again, it is shared amongst all my friends. And as you folks know, there's people with thousands of followers. Can you imagine if somebody just said, hey, your business is this great, and I want to make sure all my friends know about it? It happens in a press of a button.
I have I think I just looked at, I have 1,170 friends, and I think 210 followers.
That's
and
amazing.
All posts are public.
That's awesome. So would you mind sharing a little bit more? I think it's worthwhile for you to elaborate what that means, because I know there's people from my experience, Jenna, who are in my age group, meaning over 50. They're not aware of what that translates to mean, from a word of mouth standpoint.
So every time I meet someone, there was a time back in 2009 that I am actually not a people person. And so I decided that I was going to figure out how to become a people person and be more extroverted. And I needed a metric, right? When you're nerdy and you're analytical, you need a metric, right? So my metric was friends. How many friends or how many connections do I have on LinkedIn? How many connections do I have on Facebook? And the rule was I have to have seen them in person. That way it'd be real. We have to know their names and, it'd be a real, not be going liking a bunch of people. And so I made sure to try to connect with every single person I met at these networking events. And this wasn't like work networking. This was mostly like social networking at the time because it's 2009, right? And every time I post, and even more so, if I have a post on my personal account, my friends are going to see it way before a business post, right? If one of my clients posts something on their business account, it may never be seen. Whereas if to my 1,100 friends online, it has a much higher chance of being seen by everyone who's recently interacted with me, especially. And when I talk about gamifying the algorithm on a personal side, I take that engagement you're talking about and we ask questions. So every morning I have a daily question. My friends are pretty much indoctrinated on it now. But when they like it, when they commented on it, and even more so, I have people sharing them now because all of these questions are public. I'll get 128 comments. And because they've commented, because they've shared it, they now see all of my other posts first. So I have 1,170 people with the potential to see it. But for those who don't understand Facebook, it's not limited to their amount of friends. Because when my post is public and you comment on it, there's a good chance, especially if it's one of those with 128 comments, that it is also going to show in your feed almost as if you posted it and your friends will see it, your connections.
Exactly.
So talk about how do you make something go organically viral. You have to get those key nodes with people with 1,000, 4,000, or the max 5,000 friends.
Right. I'm just shaking my head affirmatively and smiling. That's exactly right. Great explanation. I'd like to share just one other insight we share with all restaurateurs, that give them some context. And just think about this. Applies to all business folks out there, though, as well too. And you're going to understand this. Just think about this. If a friend tells you about a business, whether you're a chiropractor or you're a surgeon or you're another market agency competing out there, when a friend gives you a recommendation, more likely you're going to try it. In the restaurant business, the stat that I saw out there from the National Restaurant Association, if I recall it, is if a friend refers you to a restaurant, there's a 70% chance that you're going to try it. And that just is obvious, right? Offline, right? Because you have context. And that's what Jen is talking about, is driving context. She's not pushing information. She's not suggesting you push information out, but get engagement. That way people share the information that Jen is providing, right?
That's, a great example right there on restaurants. I don't know if you're familiar with the restaurant here in Dallas, Knife.
Yes,
Very
I am, actually.
Delicious restaurant. After so many people ate there when they first opened and they're posting it all over social media, we were like, my husband and I were like, we've got to go try out Knife.
Cool. Yeah, that's the way it works. Awesome. Great. Thanks for that. I love how you explained it. So moving on. So any questions on that, actually, I should ask before we move on to the next
No, I think
part?
that's pretty Facebook 101.
Cool. Great. Good. So let's move into the next piece. Remember, I mentioned that in January I'm speaking, and one of the topics is how to make the biggest difference on social media with just 5 minutes a week. Because at that particular presentation, as well as I assume today, hey, many of you are one-man shows just like I was 6 or 7 years ago. And the reality is, hey, I don't have money, and I also don't have time. So here's what I'm suggesting to you. If you just have 5 minutes of time, let me give you a little context first. Believe it or not, the stat that we've seen out there, and this is right from the Motley Fool as well as Facebook, comments are 10 times on Facebook Live, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, versus other videos. That's the stat out there. It'll be 10 times. I'm going to need your help with editing this. If it's coming across wrong, I just lost my train of thought for a second. I apologize.
Well, there's more comments, and I can answer a why really quick there, because I recommend every single one of my independent clients, especially more so than the big ones, Facebook
Uh-huh.
Live, doing a daily one or a weekly one,
Yep.
it doesn't have to be
Yep.
hard, right? It just, you pick up a
Exactly.
selfie stick and a phone. But when you do a
Yep.
Facebook Live, especially from your personal account, I mean, please don't forget your
Yep.
personal account in this business branding.
Yep.
It sends a notification to every single one of your friends that Jim is
Yep.
now live. And then depending on your
Yep.
device and your settings, it will automatically open it up. Automatically.
Yep. Exactly. And what's the cost of doing Facebook Live, Jenna?
0. Well, let me take that back.
Exactly.
$7 to $14 for a good selfie stick.
Yeah, exactly. And just to let you folks know, literally the first 3 months with the client that we tested on, I was literally holding my phone with him, literally. But if you have, actually, by the way, if you have an iPhone, there's a stabilizer, and most phones have that anyway. And then we tried selfie stick, and then we've moved up from there. But it costs you $0 or $14 for a good selfie stick, if that's what you need. Right. So what I was trying to say earlier, I was actually looking at my phone because I wanted to hold it up and just say, this is all you need to get started on this, is that what the stat that comes from the Motley Fool, which is there's a finance letter I subscribe to, is that comments generally are 10 times what you'd find on other videos on Facebook Live. All you need is a smartphone. People are really attracted to the new, and that's a big piece of Facebook. I'm going to walk you through several examples of our clients to try to convince you to get on Facebook Live. Again, if I'm sitting in your shoes, I'm thinking, hey, what's going to give me the results for the least amount of time and the least amount of money? And it's Facebook Live. So here's a real client. This is actually a butcher that's been around since 1992. You can see he's even older than me. If you saw me on stage or on here, you'll see I'm not as old as him. Don't tell him I said that. He's still a client of ours today. Really good guy named Gary Hirsch. What's that? Yeah. Oh, he does. I agree. Look at the top left. That's his logo off his page.
Nice.
Is that cool? So you'll see. So I'm pointing out, hey, it's 1.8 thousand views of this Facebook Live here. Okay, 16 shares or 50 shares, and the comments go on forever.
That is not abnormal.
Yeah.
With the basic sharing and a couple just of tweaks, we can almost guarantee 1,000 views on the most benign Facebook Live. And we've all, and I don't want to take over, but I'll tell you right now, a trick to tell your clients that we've had amazing success with right here at the Business Growth Network on this page is if you offer an opportunity for their clients or an education for their clients inside the Facebook Live, and you make that clear in, you know, a lot of your posts saying, if you'd like to get like the equivalent of like a Black Friday deal, if you have a store like that, subscribe and say, what is it? Turn on Facebook Live notifications. If you click on the like button, then people will go out of their way, especially if you add it to the email series or you put a sign in the store, they will go out of their way to turn on notifications for your business Facebook Live.
Exactly. So this is rough. This is just what's referred to as the front page. And you know this, Jenna, and people are more advanced out there. This is just the front page. On the back page, if you look at the metrics, and if you're not familiar with it, it's under insights. This presentation is not about that today, but this is just the first layer of people that actually watched it. There's a whole nother layer because it's been shared and other people are seeing that, they're seeing it as well too. You'll note there's roughly 4,700 people that are like this page. So it's almost half the number of fans I've seen on the first side. So just one example. And this is a small-time butcher, by the way. Here's one of our biggest ones. You might be familiar with this particular client.
I love the Bavarian Grill. Oh.
Yeah, this is Jurgen, the owner of the Bavarian Grill there.
We live so far
So we'll just go out to, oh, is that right? So it's Bavarian Grill. And so as you see, what I wanted to point out in this live feed of his Facebook Live, first of all, I just noticed my person, almost 6,000 people have been reached, 2.6 thousand views on the front page. This is without spending money on boosting or advertising, all organic. And you'll see the video is not perfect, right? It's not perfect lighting. Doesn't have makeup on. There might be some movement of the of what we use a gimbal for this, kind of like a fancy selfie stick. It's not perfect, but we really believe in not being perfect in order to cut through the noise out there. You know why? You folks all know people love authenticity, and so it's like we tell them it doesn't need to be perfect lighting, it doesn't have to be perfectly dressed. Things could be a little unorganized, and we prefer it that way. because that way people are going to believe you. And that's why we believe Facebook Live is so unpopular. So he has, on the front side, it's roughly 2.6 thousand views. If you ever meet Jurgen, you would know he's a German, and there's a little accent there. And it's not fully always understandable, but people love the authenticity for what it's worth. Okay?
Well, and it's just like your earlier example. It's just like it would be out in the real world. If you were face to face with him, what you see is what you get.
I love that. You know, I'm going to make that as a note to bring up in January when I present. What you see is what you get. Yeah. And by the way, Jurgen is not on Facebook, and he's the most unfamiliar client we have with social media, and I would say that in front of him. My point is he's very capable of presenting his products, and all of your clients are, and all of you do that all the time to drive sales. So that means you can do Facebook Live too. You're very capable of it. Okay? By the way, that takes about 3 minutes to get set up with Jurgen and then do his presentation on Facebook Live. So you might be saying, hey, I don't have any followers, or I don't have many. So check this out. So I want to show you another example in case that was your excuse that you need to have followers. So here's one of our clients out in an area called Roanoke. I think they have roughly 12,000 homes out there. This is we have a magazine that we represent out there, and she's actually a snail mail magazine, meaning she's not really online. But we started with her in August or September. We started doing Facebook Lives. Please note down here, if you can see my mouse, she had roughly 1,800 people reach. Here's the real numbers up here. Almost 941 people watched the video. Today she has 642 fans. 642 fans. So more people are seeing the video than she has fans. We just had a meeting. You folks might kind of find this funny. Maybe you will too, Jenna. We're meeting with her salesperson because her salesperson is having a hard time selling Facebook Live. And the problem she's having is, how can we have 642 followers, but we're getting anywhere? We have some Facebook Lives we do with the mayors out there are over 3,000. How can I convince people that when there's only 642 people follow?
Well, no, I just watched a video. One, you have to keep in mind that somebody might come back to a video over and over again.
Exactly.
There's a video, and I'll have to tag it to you when I get off. It
Yep.
has over 22 million views in like a week.
Wow.
I mean, obviously he doesn't have that many fans. He's
Yep.
a Navy SEAL though, speaking and giving an incredibly emotional
Yep.
reach to your heart, presentation. And it hits out and goes viral.
Yeah, I think I saw the one you shared was with the baby, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not with a baby. This one is just him. But I even had one friend who was like, I did not blink for that 10 minutes he was on, and I'm in tears. This is like amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Navy SEAL, no baby, just broken bones and stuff.
Oh man, brutal. So what do you need to do Facebook Live? Just a reminder. I'm holding up my smartphone right now. You need a smartphone. You need a Facebook personal page or business page, and then 5 minutes a week, literally 5 minutes a week. That was my sell to our clients. 90% of them are all operators. Maybe you are too. They just don't have the time. So, but can I ask them for 5 minutes? Yeah, they're going to give us 5 minutes. And many times it just goes a minute to a minute and a half. That's the reality. That's all you really need to do.
And you can frame it. I mean, if you need a frame of reference to help you do something, like I did mine, and I started it out, and then I've kind of gone to different things, but I did like morning tea with Jenna.
Yep.
I'm not doing much in that section of the morning anyway. You flip on the camera on your phone and drink your tea and chat about a particular subject.
Cool. Good stuff. I love when folks like you sharing these examples, because I know the folks in the audience are like kind of brainstorming and say, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, or that gave me another idea. So I appreciate it as well too, and it's giving me ideas. So if I haven't convinced you yet, here's one of our clients that's a pest control company. Essentially, he takes care of rodents, bugs, insects, and things like that. We've only done one Facebook Live with him. He has roughly 400 fans on his page. But look how many video views he had with just doing a Facebook Live. This is a pest control company with the owner.
Now, you discussed at the very beginning that your bottom line is sales.
Mm-hmm.
So have you been able to track these video views to sales?
Here, let me answer like this. So we've had 3 analysis done of what we do for our clients. One client that's based in Plano, the first year we drove 19% sales. He had no other promotions going on. Hirsch's, you'll see a testimonial on my website, and I believe it includes his statement that year over year we're driving 7% year over sales were contributing that much. We had another client in the Metroplex, 5% increase amongst their chain. It was a 6-unit breakfast chain that you're aware of here. I can't mention their name here. So with that said, Jenna, what I say to folks when they challenge me and say, hey, can you track it? What's the ROI? What I'll say to somebody is, what's the ROI of that server over there who's building relationships with that family? What's the ROI of her? Because we know because she's driving that relationship over there, they're going to come back and ask for Bethany or Michelle, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works with building relationships. Now, there's ways to track it. I don't want to get into that, but that's my sell. And if they don't understand that, to tell you the truth, I'm moving on. But what's really neat, I find everybody understands that example. If you understand driving sales is first about building relationships. We're not talking about e-commerce here. We're talking about driving relationships. And when I say to every independent business person, how did you drive sales? And I give them the answer. You drove sales not only because of your product, but your ability or her ability or his ability to build relationships in front of your counter in your restaurant or with your pest control company. If you believe that relationships drive sales, we're for you. If you're looking for something else, we're not for you. That answer your question?
That's a great way to say it.
Yeah. So this is a long-term strategy. That's what I always say to clients too, Jenna. Am I looking right now? If you're looking for ROI in the next 2 months, it's not going to happen with us. So we actually always have contracts that are long as a minimal of 8 months. I was trying to think what we did yesterday with a client, 8 months, because it literally takes us good 4 months many times to really start getting the momentum, make it really consistent and predictable.
I really appreciate you say that, because I know when we finish our marketing strategy with clients, we actually usually break it down into 2 steps. We need to give them a first step that's going to give them that immediate ROI bump. And then we can get their trust to get that long-term bump.
Exactly.
That will drive, that hockey stick growth, right? Bump, but then they want the higher. I'm like, that's a 2-step process.
Exactly. And things just take time. If you're an independent business person out there or a corporation, like where I work, $1 billion corporation, it takes time, if we're real.
It's true. Very true.
So Facebook, this is actually this particular gentleman's Facebook page. You can see what happened. This is the stats of the metrics that I talked about earlier, talking about comments, shares, etc. You can tell which one was the Facebook Live. I mean, it popped right up. No boosting, no advertising. So I hope you're sold on that. I think we're doing really well on time here. I see got about 8 minutes if we're going to hit the hour. I just want to share this context because I might never share information with you again because we are both going to be going different ways once we log off here. This is how I read trade journals in my field, and I'd suggest you too if you want to be really good at social media. So we read months ago a quote from Mark Zuckerberg, we're going to become video first. And then another quote on the same article by these folks who are the executive team on my Facebook. They repeated throughout the call that the video is the future of Facebook. When I hear something like that, I know we need to focus on video. And so why am I so convinced? Because I know by people who have relationships with the top people at Facebook is that if they're making this priority first, remember the algorithm I talked about a couple minutes ago?
Rewards the behavior that they want.
Exactly. And that's exactly what's happening with Facebook Live today. I just heard actually it's with perpetual traffic. Jenna, if you want to share with your
Molly Pittman and what's the other guy?
I'm sorry, I don't know the other names.
I only know the girl. Imagine that.
Yeah, and anyway, it's these shares. It's just they had meetings with the folks at Facebook. It's like those are the kind of people I'm listening to. But my point is, as you read social media journals or articles, kind of like keep in mind when you see some statements like this from whoever's the leader of a certain platform, whether it's Twitter, Snapchat, etc., they're going to most likely reward you as a business person if you're using their particular platform in this context.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's some things to think about as you're building. I have a whole session on Facebook Live, but I'm just going to give you some insights, the most important ones that we share with every client when we get started with them on Facebook Live. Be authentic. You don't need to be perfect. It's okay to stutter. It's okay to use ums. You know why? Because that's how the real world is. And that's what people are just dying to find these days. And educate your customer on value, not price. Just like I was talking with a new client we picked up yesterday. He was trying to use an analogy of how coupons go out. I said, no, we don't want you doing that. We want them to know you, that you have 3 daughters, for example. They play softball. You're a member of the community. Those types of things, for example.
Yep.
And at the same time, he's going to have his fancy ice creams as he's talking about. And then at the very end, offer them something. But nobody wants one more pitch about your business.
Hey, have you ever seen it? I give my example is go look at a Nike video.
Huh.
The Just Do It. They don't talk about shoes. They
Yep.
don't talk about the soles or the research process or cost or anything.
Exactly.
They tell you something inspiring for the athlete. They interview an athlete.
Right.
I still remember, because I mean, I grew up an athlete and I have a warfare marketing. I have a warrior spirit.
Right.
When they start talking about what it means to like wake up early, go to bed late, drive, and you keep going when nobody else will do it.
Yep.
That's what they don't talk about shoes. They don't talk about shirts or anything else.
Exactly.
What is the spirit animal of your business?
Right.
The heart.
Yep.
Talk about that. If you have ice cream, show, moms and dads after church on Sunday, taking the kids out for ice cream social.
Exactly.
That's what people want to see. You
are correct. Yeah, I'm just smiling. I agree. 1,000%. It's just always pleasant to hear somebody else talking like this. That questions the reality.
Well, that's where we started out. Was we were influencers. I have an influence blog is how I originally started, and we moved into social media. And then because people didn't fully understand the rest of the strategy, we were like, I took my my intelligence analyst strategy skills and was like, we're going to build a whole strategy and then help them fill in the gaps and the pieces.
Yeah, that's so smart. So smart. I think that's, if my clients had more money too, I think that's the best way to start. And I'm suggesting this to folks that are listening, is start with Jenna first, coming up with a strategy, and then move into Facebook Live. I mean, there could be a whole strategy.
I'll tell you what, you totally ballpark it, or what is that, T-ball it up. My strategies are $3,500 for my clients, and that's completely out of reach for independents, right?
Sure. Yeah.
However, we're doing this summit the first week of January. We're doing what's called a vision challenge the second week, which is absolutely free to help people make sure they know what they actually want from their business.
That's so awesome.
And then the next Monday, we do a workshop, and we do this same strategy in a group with only 6 people at a time for $197.
So I wish I was looking people in the eye. You have to do it, what she's talking about. I've met Jenna. I think we've been at 3 DM sessions together.
Did you do DM Lab Live? Did you do Lab Live?
What do you mean? Yes, I've done every one of them live, correct.
So, no, the DM Lab Live, it is like that, except instead of, 500 or 100 people, or however many they had.
Oh, yeah. I got your point.
It's me and my business consultant, and we sit down with 6 people, and we make sure those things are filled out correct for each individual business, because I just see it as so important to have that cohesive strategy. So when they bring in someone like you, they have the messaging right on target.
You're so right.
Start putting the pieces together and know what to talk about. There's no ambiguity. This is what we're doing. That's
great. That's great. And if you don't, I know you won't mind me adding on just a thought that goes through my mind. If you're new to being an entrepreneur or business person, I would like to make a suggestion to you that I made this to somebody else who's went to that DAG summit that we went to, and he was not going to go there. I said, and he was so worried about people selling. If you're even worried about Jenna selling to you, what I told this gentleman to do is go there just for the networking. And what I mean by the networking, build relationships with people. There's 4 people I came out of that conference. We're literally talking about doing business, already building funnels, plus getting access to somebody like Jenna for $197. Even if you can't take the next steps with her or some of the other speakers, you started building that relationship. You know that she knows other people, and she has a good heart, and she probably will help you a little more than exactly what she said she's going to do for you, give you direction. For $197, I'm looking you in the eye right now.
Well, thank you, but it's just nice that we see too many of those independents waste money.
Exactly.
When I first started out, one of my first regular clients doing social media was for an architect that's the best in the nation for residential. And that is my background. Like your background is hospitality. Yes. I was a commercial interior designer working with architects. So he spent $500 a month on me.
Yep.
It was a waste of money.
Right. Gotcha.
And I could keep telling him that. And his really expensive PhD in architectural writing content writer, waste of money. If you don't have that strategy,
exactly,
it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
But Oh, sorry.
No
I
worries.
love this Facebook Live
Uh-huh.
because especially before you even have that strategy, I'm a big fan of fail first. Just go
Exactly.
do it. And if you're going to pick one to fail first at, go do Facebook Live.
Yep.
Because every single time you do it, your messaging is going to be a little different. Your audience is going to be a little different. And you'll start to hone and see what works and what
Yep.
doesn't. So by
Yep.
the time that you're trying to say like, oh, let's do a professional video and bring in videographers and
Yep.
writers, you'll know what to say
Yep.
because you've already seen what works on Facebook Live.
Right, right. If I can, something that just popped up for me to share with folks about Facebook Live too. Don't worry if nobody's watching your Facebook Live. Be really direct with you. The Bavarian Grill roughly has about 13 to 15 people watching it live, which is nothing. If you remember, I think it was like 2.6 thousand or 1.8 thousand people watched it on the front page, not even counting the people that watch after being shared. My point is, a lot of his customers are working during the day, but what happens is people get on later in the day and they just start watching like crazy, just like we all do if you're so busy during the day. You take care of dinner, put the kids to sleep, or put them outside, whatever needs to happen, and then you're on Facebook, and then you start watching it. So don't worry if nobody's watching it.
No, and here's another one that kind of plays off of that. You were at DAGS with me, and
Yes.
is it Mark Archie or RK
Yes,
or
yes.
High Impact one? He
Yeah.
said something that was, and we learned at the end of 2016, everyone was like, content is king, content won in every marketing aspect.
Exactly.
Here's the other trick to Facebook Live. You can film something really quick.
Yep.
And when you're finished, you look at your phone and it's going to give you the option. Do you want to save this video?
Right.
Yes, you want to save it. Facebook wants you to natively put your video on Facebook, which you've just done. However, save that video to your phone, turn around and upload it to YouTube. It takes you 5 minutes to turn around and upload it. No intros, no outros, no special anything. Just put it on YouTube and start curating content. If you don't ever do anything with it, that's fine. But you can also have a marketer come in after the fact and turn around and hone all those descriptions and those tags and those keywords. And all of a sudden, this little bit of 5 minutes a week, like you suggest, of work on Facebook Live with, not a lot of money, no boosting. You start turning your content. Now it's on Facebook Live. Now it's on YouTube. Well, now it's on YouTube. Turn around and embed it in your blog content on your website. Have some person on Fiverr write up a $5 piece of article to go with it. And that content that you spent 5 minutes a week making has the ability to turn into so much down the line that your marketer is going to love.
Yeah, great insight. I'm just shaking my head to give people enough time to write that note down.
I'm just looking at your mouse because I have mice at my house because we live by a field, and I'm like, I feel like that.
I just told you about my pest control client.
I know.
I'll give you his number, please, and say Jim referred you.
There you go.
That's how Facebook. Anyway, so the next piece is for those folks that maybe you're already doing Facebook Live and you believe that you thoroughly understand Facebook. I want to share this with advanced people. It's on Facebook Messenger. And I want to give some context of the tool I'm about to share with you, which you can develop for free. So there's 1.2 billion people on Messenger today. Okay, if you're a beginner, what Messenger is essentially it's like a texting service. Okay, I want to elaborate that much more. There's two numbers I want you to look at that drive our reasoning to go out there and start focusing on what I'm about to share with you and teach you how to do it. Is on Facebook, 19% of the folks out there spend their time in the U.S. on Facebook. It's the leading category of media. And if you look it down towards the right, you'll see that it's messaging out there. Okay, so that's why you focus on this. So what I'm about to refer to, I got to go through this fast because I only have an hour. I think we're going to be right on time from what I can tell on my phone here. So let me run through this fast. Why chatbots? And what is it? Number one, it's a program that allows communication with prospective guests and fans. The same way that somebody answers your phone in your office, it's exactly how you design a chatbot. That'll make sense in literally about a minute and a half.
I love that example.
Good.
I've never heard of that. How do you start? What would you say on the phone?
Exactly.
Thank you for calling Warfare Marketing. How may I assist you?
And by the way, what you just heard from Jenna, if you're in the same segment as us, what she's saying is, hey, that's a great way to sell it too if you're another agency. Similar to email marketing, it also humanizes the experience and drives engagement is what we find.
Very conversation.
Yep. Very inexpensive to build. The one I'm going to show you was built for free. The other resource I'm going to give you, I believe it's like $10 a month. I'll share.
$10 is the one we use.
What's it called?
That's oh man, you just had it up.
And then I'll show you the two I have. I want to. So and then it also helps you track behavior, and then it's very personalized. Okay. So I'm going to show you an example. This is a live example from one of our clients that we ran beta on. It's actually the pest control company. There we go. So we use a company called Chatfield. This is built for free. This is exactly how it works with a client, meaning a prospective client. It's just booting up. It'll take 2 seconds. So what happens is client goes to Facebook Messenger. In my case, my name's Jim, as you all know. It says, "Welcome, Jim. I'm here to help you. Is your residence or business in North Dallas, Collin County, or..."
Hey, Jim, let me stop you right there.
Yep.
Your screen share is still on your
Slides?
the slides. So you might need to go down and select the window for your
There's something that says new share at the top.
That's fine. Start there.
Okay. Oh, I see. Thank you so much.
I was like, I'm pretty sure you said it was a live example. And I'm not seeing that.
As live as it gets.
There we go, right there.
Cool. So what you're gonna see, what popped up in Messenger. So if I was a client, prospective client of our pest control client, as soon as I go into Messenger, what pops up is, "Welcome, Jim. I'm here to help you." And so what we did is we created a script based on exactly what Jenna just acknowledged a couple minutes ago. My question for Alex, the owner of the pest control company, is how do they answer the phone, and what are the initial pre-qualifications for somebody to do business with you?
Nice.
So,
I like that.
if they don't live in these areas, he's not interested in talking to them on the phone and wants to give them another resource. It's the same thing online, what you do offline. So if I was to say yes, that's the first clearing. So if I say yes, and doesn't that look pretty real, like somebody's actually talking to you? This can be all programmed in. It's literally just a click of a button. So there's clients that he doesn't do business with, and there's clients that he does business with. He takes his major target, his number one target market is residents. He doesn't do businesses. He doesn't do doesn't do businesses, and he doesn't do restaurants. So we want to make sure people either exclude themselves or include themselves going forward with the conversation. No different.
Like that. And you've already solved the manual questions you get all the time.
Exactly.
By including even the no's in this checklist.
Exactly.
Nice.
So look how simple the images are here. So let's say we pick residents because we know he takes care of residents. So again, little pause here is what's called the chatbots typing back. Let's pick the most difficult one. So these are the three product services that he offers. Mm-hmm. One, rodents. So let's click on rodents. We're actually in the season of rodents, by the way, rats and mice coming to people's homes because it's cold. So he doesn't do work with tile roofs. And so we're going to say no.
What's wrong with tile?
I think it's the people. No, I'm just kidding. I kind of just picked up you have tile. So,
no, I don't, but $25,000 extra on your house in case you're wondering.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have no idea, but there's reasoning behind it. I think it has to do with the way he maintains the pest control and the chemicals used. But don't quote me on that. Do you have a composite roof? So let's say yes. Okay. We're almost done with this. This is exactly the questions that get asked on the phone. And then do you hear noises in the attic? Why do we do that? You're going to love this part, Jenna, because we want to still make them have a little bit of fear at this time. Oh, that's right. We're back to the rats. We're back to that noise that I heard last night. So we're going to say yes. So that way it kind of emotionally forces them now to call as soon as possible. And so we ask for the best number. We put the best, in our case, I'm going to put a fake number here. See, I hope I have enough numbers. Yeah, so I put the number in there. This is how we wrap it up. Okay, great, Jim. We'll have one of our awesome team members contact you within one business day. In his world, they work 9 to 5, and then they're closed on Saturday and Sunday. So we just say the next business day is what we do. So that's example of a chatbot with a pest control company. We've got leads from him. Again, I want to emphasize the philosophy of everything we've done here, Jenna, is what you do offline, you do online. Doesn't matter if it's Facebook Live, you're putting a post up to get drive engagement, or building a chat bot here.
Hey, I'm going to give you a recommendation. You need to add a question after the noises in the attic.
What's that?
You need to ask them if there's weird smells in the garage.
Gotcha. Just made a note of that.
The rats get in my garage and then they die.
Oh, yum. That
Oh
sounds
yeah, fun
good.
stuff.
So I'm going back to my slides here to wrap this up here. There we go. Can you see? Can you
I
see?
got you.
Great. Great. Let's enlarge this current slide. Great. So that is the example. So what do you get out of this? Qualified leads, segmentation, targeted advertising. Once you folks dive more into what they're referred to as chatbots, you'll be able to understand these points. We don't have the time to elaborate on this.
That's a whole other, I mean, that could be in 8 hours to set that up
Totally.
and teach that and build it.
Totally. But I'd like to emphasize to build a chatbot. Literally, after building 3 of them, and I am not a coder, I literally did my first plugin ever on our website yesterday because I didn't do it late last night. It's like, I've never done anything with our website. I'm not a technical guy. I'm a people person. That's why I love social media. But after doing 3 of these, Jenna, that I built on my own, I can literally do that same one I just showed you folks. And you can even do simpler ones in 15 minutes now.
There is. I built one for my website. I bought ConvertFox on Black Friday, and I had it up and going in about 30 minutes total. And of course, I get complicated with it because I am a techie.
Yep.
But the amount of conversations we started with just that little chat thing in the bottom of our website has been amazing.
Cool.
What's the point of driving traffic if you can't start the conversation?
Exactly, exactly. I just like a plug for chatbots again, to what I love about it over email. Email, how many relationships are you building off the email? We're in the world of chatbots. You're starting a relationship. There's already conversation going on. You're building context. We sometimes will go into the private messenger after one of our clients leads is there and just acknowledge them again. Hey, I just want to let you know that Alex is going to call you back or Judy's going to call you back. Again, building that relationship with them. And that's how we're going to beat the competition. That's how we're going to drive sales.
Outstanding. I love that. We use ManyChat. That was the one I couldn't remember their name.
Good thought. And what's the cost of ManyChat these days?
$10 a month.
$10. And chat fuel's
But
free.
they have a free version. You can start out with a free one. You just can't create automations, and that automations is getting complicated where somebody comments a word in a post.
Yep.
We pay $10 a month just because we boost posts all the time and we want that capability.
And I'll share with you folks, Chat Fuel is still free. Both of these companies also have Facebook groups that suggest you belong to. And I've actually even talked to the CEO, meaning on Facebook, at ManyChat when we were testing out both of these during a beta. I just can't say enough about chatbots. And this is something for the advanced folks out there who are very ahead of the game of what I shared earlier. So with that said, should I still go through Twitter with the time we have or not?
You can. I've got time. I know you have an interview to do. If you want to run through it, I've got time.
Okay, cool. I will. To me, this is priority over the interviews as I shared with you there. So if you feel it's a value to the folks, I'd like to cover.
Absolutely, because I'll be honest, I don't necessarily, I look at Twitter as a search engine optimization more.
Yep.
But I'd love to hear how you use it.
Cool. And by the way, that's pretty much, if anybody's using it out there wisely and differently than us, that's how they're using it. I would say 99% of your competitors, I've looked at many accounts as you can imagine by now, everybody's just wasting their time on it, generally speaking, on Twitter. And then you're going to look at the way that we do it, which is exactly how you can apply tomorrow. It's exactly the way we brought Guy Ferrari to our client. It's exactly the way we brought the Dallas Mavericks player to our restaurant. By doing what we do offline, we do online. So with that said, let me get into Twitter. There's the last stats that I have here, again, from the Motley Fool finance letter I get, 328 million active users. So it's significant enough to be on there. With that said, I want to kind of give you some context of Twitter. Twitter's fast-moving river, right? Raging river. The way content comes down is very different than Facebook if you've never been on Twitter. On Facebook, it actually just kind of sits there like a nice calm, right? River. And you have a chance to come back and look at it again. On Twitter, the conversations or your tweets are just really going down like a river. And it'll make more sense once you get your hands dirty. Once you get your hands dirty. Yep, you got to do that, right?
I have my most popular article on my website is actually all the hashtags you can use predominantly for Twitter and Instagram.
Cool.
We did it for our own research, and it's crazy how well it works.
Awesome, awesome. So the first question I'm going to ask, and unfortunately I can't see anybody raise their hands, is anybody own or Shivari shares in Dallas? It's a real business. Yeah, I'm going to make the assumption that you're not. If you want to let them know when I'm about to make my next statement, say it. I know I'll never get them a client. But I spoke at a major event planning convention or conference, I should say, and and so I had my admin go out there and look through all the different companies, find the one company that seemed like the most boring. And that's why I asked, does anybody own this company? It's a real business, because I know that if we could do what I'm about to show you for them, we certainly can do for your business has a very exciting product.
You know, I'm the type of person, I will go find the owner and make them watch this.
Cool, go for it. Don't tell them where I live. I don't mind telling you it was Jim. Don't use my last name. So with that said, I had Jessica at that time. She went out using the tool that I'm about to share with you, which is free, which is one of the most unknown search engines in the world of social media. You're going to understand why I say that in a minute. Exactly how we got Guy Ferrari in there before I could afford to buy software. Anyway, let's move along. So real business here. So here's where you start with Twitter. If somebody was talking about your Shivari Chairs of Dallas, what would be some keywords you'd be listening to offline to go introduce yourself as the owner? Say, hey, I heard you said you need chairs, or I heard that you're looking for rentals, or I heard you're doing event planning. If they were talking about that offline, you would go introduce yourself, wouldn't you, if you own this company?
In theory.
Correct. So that's exactly what we're doing. Originally, in the old days, as you know, Jenna, and anybody else who owns an agency or anybody else does social media, you see in every article, social media is more about listening. It still is about listening. And that's exactly what you need to do on Twitter. Check this out. So using the tool I'm about to show you in a minute, which is free, somebody actually tweeted within 25 miles of their locations, need to rent tables, tents, and chairs. Need to rent tables, tents, and chairs. And as I said to the audience of event planners, if you own this chair business here and you overheard somebody nearby say, I need to rent tables, tents, and chairs, what would you do?
Hey, I know a guy. You'd be like, I know a guy.
Yeah, right. You know a guy, and that guy's you, right? And so check this out. These are real tweets. Somebody else tweeted, had a blast. Definitely need more chairs for the next event. I'm just shaking my head here. Again, are these pretty good leads? When people ask me about ROI, this is what I show them.
See, we use it the other side. We use it when we build our marketing strategy to find out what they're already saying. And I am amazed. I mean, even specific realtors, they will call out. People go to Twitter to complain, and it's searchable on Google. Your name can be out there, and you don't even know they're complaining.
I want to add on to, it wasn't part of this presentation, but it's applicable to what you just said. So on the pitch I had yesterday, he's actually going to be selling, he told me who his direct competitors were. And so we found complaints of his direct competitors on Twitter. And I said, this is exactly what we want to see, is complaints about your competitor, because that's a possibility of a new customer for you, right? One of our key questions we ask, and you folks please use this, we have 24 questions that we always use before we start with anybody. If somebody wasn't to eat at my restaurant, if somebody wasn't to use myself as a chiropractor, if somebody wasn't to buy insurance from me, where would they go? And we do searches on those competitors, because most likely if they're using your competitor, they should be using you. If you found out that they were going to Farmers Insurance and you work for State Farm, what would you do if you heard information about that offline? You go introduce yourself, especially if they're complaining. You can find those complaints online too with the tool I'm going to show you in a couple minutes. Last example, black Shivari chairs with black pads. Hello, I need to rent around 120 black chairs. As I said to the audience at that time, is this a pretty solid lead? I'd say so. You know the cost of this lead? About 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay?
Wow.
So here's the special link. Search.twitter.com. For some reason, most people don't know about it. It's exactly the tool I started with about 6 or 7 years ago on my phone doing a search.
Do you need that, or can you look by hashtag?
You can, well, as soon as you do this, yeah, so here's the answer. You can do it both ways. What I love about this, search.twitter.com, is you'll see all the choices, right? These keywords. So for example, the guy I was pitching yesterday, he's competing with a burger restaurant, so we put in the word burger. He also serves ice cream, so we put in the word, you'll see at the very top line, it says all these words, ice cream. Then we also put in his competitors. So that way what it does, folks, is it brings up all the conversations with the keyword burger in it, with his competitor's name in it, it said ice cream in it, etc. Does that make sense? That's why it's so powerful. I always use this example. I know you get this, Jenna, but I was with somebody who's a little older than me, believe it or not, and he still wasn't quite getting it. I said, let me give you an example. When my kid first started playing basketball, I didn't know where to send him. And so what we do, as you know, when you do a search, like I did for my kid, I looked up youth basketball in Dallas because that's the area that we live in. So I put that in Google, and then we had all these opportunities for me to engage with the YMCA online. That's exactly what this tool does. It brings up all the conversations related to the keyword search you're doing. It's free. Search.twitter.com. It's not mine. There's no way I'm going to know if you use it or not. Super. You don't have to buy software out there at all. Search.twitter.com. So here's another example. This is one of our clients in Plano. I only share this older example to give you some other ideas. He had a big event called Savor Dallas. Maybe you're aware of. It's a kind of a foodie show.
It is delicious, and you should go.
Correct. So we shared. Look forward to sharing award-winning ice cream from at Savor Dallas and Centennial Hall at Fair Park. Blah blah blah. So he pushed a tweet out there. This gentleman, Mike Merrill, reached back to our account manager, says they're on the way to Savor Dallas. I'm sorry, let me back up. The context is our person did a search on the word Savor Dallas and found this conversation being shared by an individual by the name of Mike Merrill out there.
Okay.
Why did she search on Savor Dallas? Because Henry's Homemade Ice Cream is going to be at Savor Dallas. So we want to start talking with people before they get down there, before they talk to other vendors down there, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so here's a tweet from him. How do we find it? Using search.twitter.com. Write that down. So Henry's Ice Cream, my account manager reached back to him. Have a wonderful time. Plenty of great wine here. And we have a scoop of our homemade ice cream with your name on it at Savor Dallas. Okay. You'll see his real conversation. Sounds good. He says back. And then we say, hey, you're really going to enjoy everything that Savor Dallas has to offer here. Notice, this is a normal conversation you'd have offline, right? We didn't say, come out to Henry's, make sure you get in front of line, or let me know you're here. Just normal, right? Yeah. Just normal. So then Mike gets back and says to our folks, it was great, but the line for your ice cream was just too long. I'll come by sometime in Plano since I live there. How did he know that we're in Plano? Our client's in Plano. Because there's a profile out there, just like on Facebook. We drove enough interest in him that he took the time to see where we're located.
Well, he came to get in line. He really wanted the ice cream, but the line was too long, which in itself, to me, that's a testimonial. I would be happy to share that kind of testimonial with the audience.
Exactly.
And now he's looking up the actual location to go get it.
I like the way you language that. I'm going to write that down. Cool. So then we write back to him. One of my folks says, fair enough. Imagine you enjoyed the event, sharing with you an image of the cherry Bordeaux since you love wine. How did my person know that? If you looked, if you considered where he was going, he's also a wine lover because she looked at his other tweets and profile. Right? If you want to be interesting, be interested. Okay?
Now I have to ask, do you, you don't by chance run the Twitter or the social media for Original Pancake House, do you?
We used to.
They did a really good job for a while there, and they reached out to my own account for my influencer.
That was us.
Now I'm wondering, it sounds like this same strategy seems like what was going on.
That was us. So, and now I'll tell you, since you revealed it, when I said, so they actually have a CFO, did analysis of what we do, and he figured out that we actually increased their store sales by 5%. Now, I'm not going to tell you how many millions a year they do, but just think about what 5% is on several $1 million a year. It's significant. Yeah, that was us until it would be about a year and 2 months ago.
Yep, that's right on time frame.
Day in, day out. And if I can share with you, Jenna, our standard on our side, folks, and I'd suggest this with you folks, if you have a social media vendor, 95% of our tweets are all targeted. What I mean is we're not talking about our clients. We're reaching out to people like Mike about Savor Dallas or about burgers, about birthdays. And just like Jenna's alluding to, I'm sure it wasn't somebody pushing content out and coming back to Original Pancake House. Is more they're taking interest in them, whether it was about final exams or struggling with the kids or going to movie night, right? Mm-hmm. If you do offline, you do online. So I'm not going to show this next example unless you think it's necessary. Make the point just because of time. It's up to you.
Yep, just keep on moving.
Okay, cool. So this is just another example. It doesn't always have to be about business. Let me back up on here. So somebody tweeted out, it's official. I'm an MISD student teacher. So I took her picture out there for the presentation.
I am sure she appreciates that.
Yeah. So, but we found out this person's in the area of one of our clients. So what does my person do? Tweets back, says, congrats. So what will you be teaching? Not talking about our client at all, right? Nobody wants to hear about your business in direct mail, email, Facebook, and Twitter, right? We're all getting bombed all the time. So it's like, what's she doing? Taking interest in her, not talking about the client. Okay? So the teacher writes back, it's elementary school, and we say, wow, that's awesome. You must be so excited. Normal conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same conversation you'd have offline, you have online, normal. You're going to be great. Have a fun week teaching. That's how it works. That's how it works. So what we're seeing, especially on Twitter and just generally social media, is it's just a flat line dead out there. Twitter, you have no competition on. I'm 99% sure about that. I don't know every market you're in, but
American Twitter markets are as you described. When you hit some of the global ones,
yep,
they are so incredibly responsive. They've turned
yep,
it into their customer service.
yep.
And it's amazing. We're talking about responses in 60 seconds.
Yep. Yeah. So I'd like to add on to that point. So everything you say, I'm shaking my head. I agree with you. If you're independent, though, here's what I've seen to beat the big corporations out there, and is they generally are using it for customer service. So if you compete with let's say like a Chili's out there or McDonald's, excuse me, they are using this customer service from my experience. But you can go to their Twitter feed, because it's public, first of all. And if they are going to McDonald's, they should be coming to your Jim's Burger. You can start peeling customers off there, because generally they're not addressing all their Twitter followers and interactions.
Mm-hmm.
But what Jenna said is exactly right. If you're in that segment, they do an awesome job and incredible. So what's next? First, from 11:15 until about 1:30, I will be checking the Facebook group. That community that Jen has created there for any questions there. Just to let you know, actually, yeah, from 11:30, I'm sorry, 11:30 to 1:15, I'll be calling out to the group. If you have any questions, put them out there. I'll check it at least once every 2 days, or if Jenna, you see something that needs to be asked,
I'll tag you.
please. I mentioned the book I am offering to everybody on this call. It's not thoroughly edited yet, so please pardon that. There's one highlight in there, but I did want to offer this to you for free at this time. It might help you with the conversation with your boss if they're not sold on social media, or start giving a little first step before talking to Jenna as far as a strategy on there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to a landing page. I'm going to share the link to your landing page. Is going to look like this. The link is at the very bottom of this slide. It's www.hospitalityfan.com/book.
Nice, easy.
Okay.
And we'll put that right above this video here so they can easily click on it.
Great. And I will be taking it down. When would, actually, I should do this because I want to do the right thing. When should we take this offer down, Jenna?
We are going to have the videos up between January 1st and January 5th. So that first week. So if you want to strip it down on, sometime around thereafter.
Okay, cool. How about I'll commit to keeping it up through at least January 8th. Okay.
There we go. And that'll give time for, because after we take this down from the summit, we're going to be putting it there for our members to have dibs if they didn't have time to watch it live.
Okay, cool. So let's just say I'd like to take it down. I have another presentation the week of the 15th, I think it is. I'm speaking on the 16th. So how about I'll say, hey, I'll take it down by the 13th to give it some extra time.
Outstanding. Our members will really appreciate that.
You got it. If you want to ever reach out to me, here's my contact information there. And I will always, just like I'm saying now, from the heart, I'll answer all your questions. If it ever starts delving into too much what we actually own and what our core competency is, I'm going to tell you that, hey, we actually charge for that. But I love helping people. The reason being is, if you're an entrepreneur, you've had so much help. And it's like at the end of the day, the reality is most people aren't going to take action anyway. And what I really get a kick out of is when people take action.
Yep, that's definitely. Do you want to flip back to you? I got a question for you real quick.
Oh, sure.
That way people can see your shining smiley face.
I will.
There you go.
Let me go grab it.
So we you were great. I love that was not a pitch fest whatsoever. That was pure massive amounts of value, and you're with DMS. You understand how that works. What kind of clients, obviously you said Hospitality Fan, what are ideal clients for you?
Yeah, ideal client for us is first of all, business person who's going to have good product and good service. What I've learned, it sounds obvious to you, but I've literally visited folks and it's like, I learned the hard way my first year and a half. It's like, if they don't have good service, we're not going to be bringing them more sales. And we get asked that. It's like, we actually get referrals like that, and you get that. But that, I want to tell you what doesn't work. I'll give a good example of, we actually pick up several clients, believe it or not, in the last 2 weeks. With that said is, number one is they have money, meaning they have sales, right? And I'm not saying they have a lot of extra money, but number two is they don't want to be doing all the social media. At the end of the day, we're taking off their plate entirely. They have a great service, great product, and they understand the power of building relationships to drive sales. That makes sense. So it's independent businesses. Primarily,